I'm Spud Mckenzie. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah, I've been going about filming maybe about seriously 6 years, but photography 7. I come from a pretty large family of like 7 sisters. I'm the only boy, which is crazy. My brand is specifically on free. It was in the beginning, it was about freelancing, and it just became more of a developing like tree. It just became from creative direction to photography to directing to set design to literally producing. Like anything I get my hands on as far as creativity, that's where it's about Mckenzie, and the brand itself just became a big like insight. I got my first like official run with DC Young Fly. It's funny because he's right here. I got my first one with DC Young Fly from Archive Entertainment. I started with him back in like 2014. We pretty much did a lot of shows together as far as me being his to-go-to content creator and cameraman. It started with just taking pictures. I met with a guy named Darad. Melita, she manages OG Parker at the moment, but she plugged us in together. Her and Jessica, Jess Carp, which is also a producer for Rich Homie Quan and a few others. They told me to meet with Darad to get with DC Young Fly back in 2014. We went to
Lolita?
Melita, Malita. Yeah, she's pretty big in the Atlanta community as far as, branding, content, and management. Yeah, she's dope. She pretty much is stamped here. But yeah, she from there we went to Louisiana, and I took a couple pictures of DC Young Fly. He took me on a road with him, and from there it was just like an ongoing process. The ship sailed. I met with a lot of people along the way. Being with DC when he went on to his Wild 'N Out career, I kind of took turns to see what else is out there while he got his stuff together. Because like I found my ending point. He's pretty much established, still good friends. Because when I first moved to Atlanta, it's funny enough, he lived down the street from me. So I used to live off of Six Flags Drive. He lived in Adamsville. I knew friends in that area, so I used to see DC and Moneybag and a few other people as well. So that really helped. I will say along the way I met Dej Loaf through Darad, her management. And her current manager at the time was interested in me, and she told me to go on tour with her. From there, I was on tour with Dej Loaf. This around the time went back up off me. Her single was top of the line, was there, it was in, so we were promoting it very well. And man, when I say literally like right around the time me and Dej Loaf were on the road with each other, I picked up a lot of new clients. I started bettering my craft because, as some people know, dealing with, female artists, you have to really make sure they look good on pictures. Got to make sure they, it was like a challenge for me. So it kind of pushed me to become a better photographer. At the time, I was buying all the best equipment, all the best Nikons I could find, and, just getting to it. I caught myself at like a wall because I was telling myself I want to start shooting music videos and stuff, because I would make creative, recaps with her on tour, but I really was getting some music videos. So I kind of took a break from Dej Loaf and kind of went about my own way. And from there, I ran into Rich the Kid. Early day Rich the Kid. This is when it was Wire and Rich the Kid. I had pulled up on him at a studio session one time, and from there, we kind of like, started creating together. I went on his tour with him for 300 Entertainment. This is when Leora Cohen at the time was managing 300 and Rich the Kid and Young Thug, closely. We went on tour with him. I literally just started doing everything from recaps and music videos to sessions to documentaries. Parts of really getting my craft in order was the pressure of waking up every day to go film another, artist in a whole nother city. And it really pushed me. At some points, I didn't even know how to use the newer cameras, but so a lot of this was self-taught. I did have some friends involved with mentoring me. One of my good mentors named the Film God, Quintavious. He was a good friend of mine. He helped me along the way. He taught me how to shoot on film and Leicas and Olympus cameras. Hasselblads. He really stemmed a lot of the extra help that I needed to take my better pictures for these artists, because he didn't care too much about the artist world, but he also cared about my craft. And that's what helped bring the good, quality to these artists that I was dealing with, which caused a lot of people to want to shoot with me. But fast forward past Rich the Kid, after his 300 tour, closing out in New York City, I took a break from Rich the Kid to kind of like, really get my craft in. So I would head to Roswell Mill, practice my, my skills, try to take pictures of just the simplest things, from bumblebees to like flowers, landscaping, water.
Roswell
Say it again?
Mill?
Yeah, Roswell Mill. Yeah, and it's in northern Georgia. I would literally try to just learn so many different things being out there and getting my craft better. I would film, that's where I really got my style, just really just being there alone. I called myself shooting local artists at the time. I want to say around that time, I ran into Sunny Digital and my friend Bird Films. He was his current photographer at the time. Sunny Digital was on tour with P&B Rock in the early days. And me and Sunny would kick it, like, of course, prior to with Cam Kirk. Cam Kirk and Sunny Digital were friends prior to me actually formally meeting Sunny Digital. And me, Cam Kirk, and Sunny Digital had a photo shoot prior to that. And from there, I kept, close contact with bro. And then along the lines of meeting other producers like Metro, Southside. I think after one of my last shows with, I want to say, Rich the Kid, I ran into Don Cannon and DJ Drama. This was the Left Right tour with Playboy Carti and Uzi. Rich the Kid did a few acts prior to Uzi. So when I took a picture of Don Cannon and Drama and Uzi, they were in the backstage, and Carti, I kept those pictures just for, portrait use. But I also did a recap video. Mind you, I've been practicing how to shoot videos and everything. So I gave them the recap video. Cannon emailed me and was like, hey, I love this video. Can you come to Mean Street Studios in Atlanta, Georgia to, possibly talk about some business? And I'm like, cool. I was in the middle of Target shopping for some furniture, and I just stopped everything and went down to Don Cannon, because he's one of my like idols as far as music. I love Don Cannon. Now I'm more of a friend. He's more my friend now than anything. It's crazy how that would go. But when I met him, he sat down with me. He was like, this is Drama, we like to, have you come in on Generation Now, because we would love to see you come in, take some content of Uzi, this artist we're building. And this is early Uzi days. Like, this is pretty early. Like, so this is before Love is Rage. So I really got to see Uzi at his earliest. And I took all of his early photos, all of his early content, everything, from there on has been like an onslaught of just creativity. Uzi wasn't really too much of a picture person at the time, as we all know. Yeah, we have a million pictures of Uzi, but he'll only post with so many. Uh-huh. And at one point, I asked him like, "Oh, you don't like my photos?" He was like, "Nah, bro, your photos are hard. I just market how I want photos to be." Half the stuff he keeps. Come to find out, when we went to South by Southwest one year, this is my first South by with Uzi. I took a picture backstage. Then this is when he had his purple locks. He had the Louis bandana bracelets, and he was like, "Spud, take a picture." And I was like, "All right, just show my drip." And he just did this little face he did. I'm like, "That's the portrait." So I took that picture, and then next thing you know, that became the cover for a lot of famous things, like literally from anything I could think of. That picture was all over the world. So from there, it just was like, ongoing thing for Generation Now. Ongoing from Generation, got to work with other people like Scheme, LaQuinn. Over the last 3 years working with Generation Now, a good label, by the way. I got to meet a lot of people from that studio. When I did sit down and kind of like, go over some things with Cannon and Neelam and Drama, they gave me a photography room, an all psych wall room inside of the studio, where I would shoot a whole bunch of pictures of artists that would come into the radio station, if not just to meet Drama for mixtapes or to meet with Uzi. Even Carti would be in there skateboarding. This is when he used to wear Merino Gang hoodies from ASAP Ant.
And, Merino Infantry?
Yep, yeah. And mind you, Ant's from Baltimore too.
Yeah.
So Merino, I used to have the classic Merino clothing, you
I
know,
went to
and
Syracuse with this dude named Young Braz, and I think he filmed like one of their first couple skate videos.
yep, because it was Soda used to be with him. Fries. I know exactly what you're talking about. A small world.
Yeah, I think
It's
his name's like William or something.
yep, yep. It's a
Dude, yeah,
small
he's
world.
with him.
Oh man, see what I mean? Like it's crazy how the universe it just keeps coming back in tune, bro.
100%.
Yeah, along the way, and then swiftly I started finding my way. That's when these big heads started to come in place.
Yeah, so where are we right? Like, what are you in Mean Streets right now? Where are you at right now?
Nah, I'm freelancing again, bro. Like I'm full freelancing, full director mode. Like
No, yeah, no, I mean like physically, like what setting are you in as we speak?
right now, I'm just in full director mode. I'm not attached to anybody anymore.
I mean, like what building is that? Like you're building your studio? Because I see all the fatheads behind you.
Yeah, well, all of the majority of these was in Mean Street Studios, but over time they were in miscellaneous studios like Cam Kirk Studios and Vivid Rich HQ.
Okay.
Even I had a New York studio I was shooting at as well, Electric Studio. So it's like over time I just took the brand and ran with it more so, and it brought the community in. But yeah, man, that started the big heads, and over time it just became a big sensation. I had companies reaching out to me. We had Spotify reach out. They ended up trying to steal the idea.
Right. Yeah, I seen stuff with Spotify about how the interns, some people came up with the idea of like when it's New Year's Eve, like what songs you've listened to. They ran with that.
Mm-hmm. They ran with
like,
it.
There's nothing wrong with being an intern. That's what you said in terms of like how you started humbly.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you want to talk about the TMRO app, like Don Cannon's TMRO app, what are some tools for freelancers? Because I'm a freelancer myself, and I haven't really tapped into the industry that heavy. How do I cross that bridge? Really knock down those doors.
Well, first you gotta download the app. Let's start there.
Fact.
Then you have to push your content, all the great content you have, on TMRO App, because he sees it. He has to see it. That's his bread and butter. That's his child, other than Uzi. That's his child. That's his child. That's what he's looking for. So pushing crazy content on the TMRO App will, one, have you being seen by a lot of other creators, which will collab with you. You guys will collect the community and grow together. And on top of that, it will, it's more so like a LinkedIn effect. You'll start to see your work go into different places, and people will come contact you. And that's what we want. We want to create a pub where you're actually getting paid to what you do.
And so what would you say is more important, who you know or what you know?
Both. Sad to say. And this time I know it's supposed to be one or the other, but it's definitely both. Now, you would literally take what you know, just so you can reel in who you know. Like, your talents will get you to the people you need to get to, because that's all it is. We live in a time where content is king. Creativity is literally a drug that people want. They just want to breathe it now. So if it's in you, you're going to get to whoever you need to get to, honestly.
Yeah, and it sounds like you were blessed to know some people who lived around the way, and then also know what you were doing. But like you said, you improved your craft as time went on. Like when you were on the road, you were blessed to have people who could, sprinkle little tidbits in there. So I think it's also so important to have like a differentiating factor. Like you have this big heads thing. When was the first time that you conceptualized using the big heads? Like what was the initial, I'm going to do this?
I'm going to tell you, and it's funny because we're friends now. Ludacris, the music videos, and it was like, damn, man, Ludacris really had a creativity at the time. And his cover had the big head. So when we did that, we was like, man, wouldn't it be great to start this era again? Ran with it. You know what I'm saying? And I say like that literally spawned our first picture was DC Young Fly. I literally called bro, like, I need you for a favor. I knew DC would spread it like wildfire because, one, he's animated. Two, he has a great following. And three, the creativity behind it. Typically, big heads show an expressional thing. It's kind of like when you go to the theme park and you get those drawings and they kind of make you look like a big head, but it's like a personality trait that comes with it.
Like the caricature.
There you go. DC had that. So it's like marketing already set, creativity locked in. Let's just do it. So I set the shoot up. He came by the next day. I just took 3 shots of him, sent it off to him. He loved it. He posted it the minute we gave it to him, and it spread like wildfire. When I say I got calls left and right, there were people literally coming to Mean Streets to get a radio interview from Drama and come straight to my room. Oh, I heard about the big kids. I got to get one. And that shit was literally from J-Rock to OT Genesis to YG to Chloe and Haley to Yachty. I mean, everybody wanted, when they were literally flying in to get an interview and wanted to get a big head. That thing blew up so crazy. So that's where it started. And then when I told Ludacris, he laughed. It was like, man, that's dope as hell. Like, that's what it's all about. That's what I want to keep seeing from young creators. And from that day, like, me and Ludacris locked in, like we boys and everything. It's ridiculous now. It's like, it's funny. Again, that got me to that point.
For sure.
Creativity can get you to anybody, bro. It's just how you go about it. It's going to draw you in.
So much fuel in that. And so have you seen the Young Thug, the With That video? Because, I mean, for me, I've seen the Ludacris rollout video, but what do you think of the Young Thug one where it's like it's like the movie?
Yeah, I've seen it. Nah, I've seen it. I love it. I'm here for it because it shows that we are inspiring each other. I've even seen it down to, what's it called? TikTok and Triller and Snapchat. Take it and run with it as an app. Again, I didn't, at one point I was tripping about it. I was like, nah, I'm flattered because I know this is what it's about. Like, I'm happy that it's actually something that people can just say they ran with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they know where it started from.
And a lot
you can't not know it without.
Gunna was in the cut in that video.
Yeah.
Just a normal everyday dude. And he got plucked, and it's like, you never know when it's your time. So you really have to hone in and network, and like everything you're saying, I agree with 100%.
That's the thing is, like, you just never know where that could take you, right? Like,
right. So did the sports memorabilia platform Fatheads inspire you at all?
They inspire me a lot. They do inspire me in some cases because of sports, but I know they started putting their foot back on it heavy on social media because they seen how much this kind of sparked up. They were like, oh, I need parts. So I noticed they started pushing that again, even down to some of the football players, like pictures now, they're like enlarging them. So I'm like, okay, you guys actually want to get back into the phase. And it's like, cool. Like, it's just it's just a cycle effect. And I'm here for it, dude. Like, I'm here for it.
For sure. So I saw somewhere that you said you have fast and distorted brain wavelengths. Can you tell us more about that and how that contributes to your work?
Yeah, man. Like, some days I'll wake up and my mind would be going. I won't get sleep. So I'll start creating, and it would be crazy things. So basically, like, how it works is, it's like an itch. I can't scratch it until I really properly do it right. So I'll create something, and it could be me waking up from a dream and I will remember my dream. It could be something that just pops in my head and it's literally telling me step by step what to film, and I'll just do it, and then I'll just release the content. And when I see it for myself, it goes up. So it's like, you guys are seeing exactly what's going on in my brain, whether it's crazy or not, But those wavelengths always been a problem for me as a kid. I just didn't know how to, I guess, express them. Because, like, I didn't have a camera as a kid. My dad took pictures of us, so I never really knew how to express it. But as I got older, now I know how to. Wavelengths has always been distorted. Like, I don't know, like, for example, I remember being in New York Rich the Kid. We were with Jaden Smith and Luka Sabbat. It's funny, I just posted about this. And Luka had a teacup, and he always carries around tea with him, this man's really fancy. But when I was sitting there in a conversation with him, just talking about teacups, and she was like, wouldn't it be crazy, bro, if we can kind of get a picture of the teacup, like animated, kind of like the water and the tea dripping out of the cup instead of going back in. I was like, yeah, let's try it. We took the picture. But shit like that goes, like, it just moves, and it brings me closer to other people that thinks like me. So just to see that, and from his point of view, as you know, Luka Sabbat is a very different individual.
Yeah.
It brings me closer to other people like him all the time. So that's how I always built like crazy, relationships with people that I wouldn't expect to be as creative in distorted ways, because they get me. So it's like those wavelengths, they always come back every time, bro.
For sure. So could you give us like some keys to brand development for people who might be beginning?
Yeah. So for brand development, one thing I've realized a lot of people don't do, shock value. Not to say do shock value as in to do something crazy for clout. I mean,
Yeah, nothing goofy.
yeah, do something that stands out so much that people have to be in tune with it. Hell, run around the city and put your content out there outside. I'm so used to seeing billboards all the time in traffic. I would love to see kids put their work up in front of like stop signs or traffic signs or things as such. Branding is a form of marketing. It can be done anyway now, as we both know. Social media has been the key form of that. But actually going out there and to impress people like, street performers, put your art out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to always be digital, And I'm realizing that more and more, even myself. But yeah, just stay tight on your brand as far as like promoting it. Get involved, have events, do mixers, do industry mixers, do friendly mixers, do creative mixers. I remember back in the day we had Tumblr meetups. Everybody used to go to those back in the day. I would have a creative Tumblr meetup as far as branding, just to meet with other creators to put out more work. The one thing I've realized about branding is only popular until everybody gets involved. It can be corny, but people going to do it because everybody else is doing it. So I realized branding only falls in the implying of following. Everybody follows each other if it's fun. Not too long ago, people wasn't skating. Now everybody roller skates. I've been skating my whole life, but that's a brand I can use on top of my creative like brand that I have now with Mckenzie. I can put that to the side. That will bring in another form of marketing to bring in people to see my other art. Oh, he skates. Now he does directing. Oh, he does photography. Again, if you wear many hats, branding is going to be easy for you because you're using each and every one of those hats in that house to market it. Right. One way or another, you're going to cross brand, and then your marketing is crazy.
Okay. So Spudds Mckenzie, is it Spudds or Spud?
Spudds with an S.
So is that, take us a little bit through that. Is that from the Bud Light dog?
No. So that name came about like 11, 12 years old. I kind of like got into a fight with some kids in my area. And they kind of hit me in the head with a bat. And I had a big knot on my head. Like, this is huge, bro. And from there, he kept calling me Spudds because it looks like a potato when it's tied on my fucking head, like a big ass like tater tot. So that's how it came about, bro. And I still have a scar to this day, bro. I never got stitches for it, bro.
Well, hey, it makes sense, man. It makes sense.
So that's how Spudds kind of came about. Like my little Spudds, that's what he would call me sometimes. So
no doubt. So being from Atlanta, what do you think of Tyler Perry's 300 Acre Soundscape, and what might you do if you were able to touch that ground?
Tyler Perry, I love what he's doing for the creative community as far as the film aspect of it. I love that he opened up his own world like Walt Disney. That's fucking lit because I think everybody would love to have their own producer land or rapper land, but he has a whole home for actors to live on, to create content 25/8. I think that's beautiful. Tyler Perry is a blueprint for the community. I love what he does as far as for film community, as far as like, people like us, because I've never heard someone open up a whole 300-acre land for just sets. No one has done that other than Paramount in LA. So
off of old airport or off of old army base.
Army base. Yeah, like that's amazing. So like now, like shouts out to him, bro. Like Tyler Perry to go for that. Like seriously.
Word. So okay, wrapping up here. You have any advice for the youth and any potential projects you might be working on?
For the youth, keep creating. This is no boundaries. There's every rule is broken. So don't think you have to follow everybody's path and journey to be something. You can literally make your own lane. And I would suggest that everybody takes the time to actually tap in to any issues that may stop you from being creative. I know we're dealing in a world where everyone's somewhat depressed.
Yeah.
So to the young ones, I would say take your time with things, and it's okay, like, to be sad sometimes, but use that as fuel to create, because I'm one of those people. When I'm down, I will go create, and I'm gonna create my best work. Not to say tap into that world to create, but use it as a positive outcome, because it may may or may not help you depending on kind of person you are. But I would suggest that doing that only because I know it does work for me and others. So I would just do that. And then another thing for the young creators, I would say is never stop believing. That shit is endless. I know nowadays everything seems like it's out of whack, but I would never stop creating. So I wouldn't suggest those not to right
Less
now.
downtime, more producing time, less
Definitely.
screen time. Use these phones for tools to success. Not
finds their way. A few things I have coming up. Actually, I have more music videos coming with Rico Nasty. We locking in. I actually have a big announcement coming for producers, but we'll come back to that. All I'm gonna say is that producer label is about to be a thing for content creators, and I'm gonna leave it at that on that for more that notion. And as far as another exhibit, it's on the way too as well.
Sweet.
So you gotta stay tuned.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you for spending time with us today. I
Definitely.
hope you have a great weekend. Shout out to the big heads all around. Don't let our heads get too big. Obviously, we appreciate what you bring to the table, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys. Thank you again too.